Hello. I am doing 3 paintings in one day. That's the goal. And I thought I'd share the process with you. We're here on Greengate Farm, and this is the Cooney Pig Farm next door. And this is going to be the first painting I do today. So this is how I've started. I did a quick sketch to organize, the basic shapes and composition, and the painting will probably be a bit different than that, but it just gets me thinking about things simply, and that's really important. I already have my pre-primed canvas up there, and I've been tending to use raw sienna lately to prime things. It just seems to work a lot. And then I've prepped my palette here. So the palette starts with 3 primary colors, which in this case is magenta, yellow, and blue, phthalo blue, basically. Other colors that I have as well is black, burnt sienna, and white, of course. Kind of a mixing white, which is a combination between titanium and zinc. It's not too... Titanium white is very white, and it'll make all your colors pastel, kind of chalky. And then also have a Daniel Smith medium, which extends it and quickens drying time. And then after I've got the primary colors, I mix secondary colors, which is from mixing yellow and magenta, I get a nice orange. Mixing blue and magenta, I get a nice violet. Also, there's a little ultramarine, which is kind of between blue and violet that I mixed. There's a green that's mixed primarily with blue and yellow. But then there's a green that's mixed with yellow and black. Now that green is really more close to what we're seeing here than a really bright green. Or and the funny thing is the camera makes it look much brighter than it actually is here. Cameras do those things, yeah. So this is I'll show you my process as I go. All right, it's a little hard to see, but I did a drawing. It's basically just translating what I did with the thumbnail down here. There's some differences because I'm standing instead of sitting, which is what I did when I did the drawing. And I'm not putting in a lot of detail. I'm just dealing with areas of high contrast. There's the light flowers in the field and the sky and the building. And then we're starting to get some light shadows in here. Now I'm not going to really deal with that yet, because light's just going to keep changing, but that's where I'm focusing on right now. And then I'm going to brush in real quick with a dark glaze and punch in whites or light colors in the other areas to try to get it to happen really quickly. Okay, mostly I am laying in colors with that big brush you see there, right there. And I'm more concerned with values than I am with the colors right now. I'm just kind of putting a bunch of stuff on there and creating some textural variety, different color relationships, kind of randomly putting them up there to some degree. And now what I've had dealing with is the elephant in the room is always the sky. The sky is covering everything and creates a cool light from above, and then you also have the direct light from the sun. But in terms of the high contrast, the brights are basically the sky is the big thing, and then the field of flowers, mustard flowers, I believe, and then the roof. Those are the high contrast elements. So I'm going to get those in right now, and that's, once I get the sky in, I really feel like I am on my way in terms of getting a full sense of lighting, and just it catalyzes the whole thing. I'm not worrying too much about creating a really clear sky gradient. It tends to go from light to dark, but I'm not going to worry about that right now. I'm just getting a clear value in that can contrast the color and the shapes. And you see, this is pretty neutral. It's got it looks more violet in the video than it does here, but here it looks almost, pale gray. And so really the biggest thing that matters in paintings is values. Values are more important than color in terms of making things work. So the value relationships, and so the language you're dealing with primarily with when you're painting are shapes and contrast, value contrast. Those are the things that are your bread and butter, your foundational premise to everything. So, and I don't always approach paintings like this. In fact, I've never approached a painting quite like this before. This is more kind of Bob Ross, systematic, and everything. But I'm trying to make it so that I wasn't even focused on that. Trying to make it so that I'm really getting a clear statement. And so now that I got that sky in there, that really starts to pull it together as a whole. I'm going to start working with this roof. And again, I'm not being too worried about whether colors are matching exactly or not. I'm just taking a quick stab in the dark at things, just trying to get things down quickly. I'm going to want more differentiation between the flower field and the building colors, but that'll be down the road. But if you can get your values to work and your big shapes in composition, that's really, that's just the biggest part of it. Getting that to work is really what it's all about. So yeah, I think this is kind of coming along in terms of a good foundation. Well, I have some companions with me, curious pigs. They like to scratch themselves. And this is what I've got so far on this. My time is up, really, in terms of what I allotted myself. So I'm probably going to scratch around on it for 10 more minutes and then pack it up, take a break, and go to the next one. And then I'm going to take a picture of these pigs too, because I just want to. Okay, I'm going to pack it up now. So this is not finished, but I'm happy where it is. I think it's got a good, fresh feeling. I captured the morning light. I'll just take it into the studio and work on it for another hour or two or something like that, and tighten it up a little bit and call it good. Okay, so this one's giving me fits. The proportions are whacking me out, so I keep not getting I keep not having enough room to deal with it, which is kind of a rookie move. But yeah, I'm not really happy with those. This one's getting there. You can't see, but what I'm really looking at is kind of the abstract shapes of the barn, the shadow, the angle of the dogwood blossoms in relationship to all that. So we'll see how this one turns out. Okay, so here you can see I'm starting kind of abstractly. You're getting a lot of blue sky reflect in there. See if I move that, it goes to green. So I put a green wash over it and then started wiping into it with a rag in the light areas, and then started punching in some burnt umber on the dark shapes. And so, I'm taking a method where I don't have as much control. I'm just kind of pushing shapes around more. So I'm just going to continue in this vein. Okay, here's where I'm at now. I'm doing it at this angle because there's so much sky reflection from this way. But I just looked at a tutorial the other day that talked about, I wish I remembered the artist's name, but it was like, draw shapes, not things. And I think that is a really good concept. You're not so much worried about, whether it looks like a tree or a barn or grass or whatever, but you're looking at the shapes that are being made and the contrast and the color going on. I haven't put in the white blossoms of the dogwood yet. I'm kind of doing a background first, but that's going to be a contrast element that's going to be added to this. I'm just going to let it dry a little bit and then go to that. All right, so I got to stop with this one. I took some risks, and yeah, it's coming along, but it needs to be massaged into shape at another time. So that's number 2, and then let's look at number 1 again. Very different, much tighter. Not necessarily better, but it's in a way a lot more is resolved with it, which, is not always a good thing. Sometimes it's good to have some kind of crazy chaos. There's a certain dynamism to what's going on with this one. I think one of the problems is I started with white too much. I was like, oh, okay, let's get those really light blossoms, and the thing is, they're not really light white, and I also don't have any sky contrast. So sky contrast does so much to help out with composition a lot of times. So anyway. Okay, the third of 3, final one today. It's kind of getting cool and overcast. I was actually hoping for a more sunset splash on this thing because that Madrona really lights up red when the sun hits it just right. But that's it. Now, I've painted this scene, several times, like 4 times, and done multiple drawings of it. So I guess I'm fascinated by it. I'm going to start with the sky, be a little more cautious this time, not be so washy and intrepid, and we'll see how it goes. All right, this is as far as I got today. It's getting kind of cold out, and the light changing. That's always the case with plein air painting is that light changes continually, which is part of the challenge. And it used to drive me crazy, but now I've learned to kind of appreciate it. So, yeah, this one was a very different approach, kind of more paint by numbers, kind of, not destroying the drawing, really trying to stay true to it. The good thing about that is your compositional tightness is a little more clear from the get-go, especially since rendering is one of my strengths, so I'm pretty good at nailing it fairly quickly with drawing. So, this is what it's looking like there, getting really dark and everything, but I'm wanting those colors to be there. And then, I can dial them in. The whole point of doing a ground like the raw sienna that I did was to, that color kind of comes through and resonates through everything to some degree. So that is, desirable. All right, so I might finish this. I might complete all 3 paintings and then put them as part of this video, or maybe not, or we'll see. But there you go, 3 paintings, sort of, in one day.